likes us. Nobody likes us.
There we go. And the first question is, how can I watch the game? Oh, God.
Same question.
There's going to be a lot of that this preseason. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jacked Ramsays inaugural pregame show. Things will look probably a little bit different. Blaze Bernard, Blazers are finally back. Shout out, Blaze. Harrison Winkler, that's the question everyone is asking. Yeah, listen, I know, guys, I worked for the previous television provider. Even then, I didn't have, like, all of the insights. Sprague also works in this industry and will tell you very much we don't hear about this stuff. We know certain things that are going on and whatnot, but other than that, not a ton there. So I've heard things, but it's all just Eric, can't watch the game. Glad to have your coverage, fellas. Listen, that's kind of, I mean, we didn't like plan this because of that in any way, shape, matter, or form. But I'm glad you guys are here. Obviously, I'm Danny Marang, joined as always by the homie Brandon Sprague. We're here doing the pregame show. We will do these every game, as insane as that may be to believe. We are going to do short pregame, kind of leads up, like what are we looking for? What are we watching for? We've got some stuff that we're working on the back end with some sponsors that we hope we can work into the show and help kind of grow the community and do some cool stuff. The post-game show, that's where we'll dive more into stuff. We'll obviously have a lot more to work with, and we'll have some box score stuff, but we'll talk, Mike, especially in the preseason, more theory more than anything else. And let's kind of jump into that right away. Sprague, you love preseason games, and you think that everybody gets a lot out of them, right?
I maintain the opinion that NBA basketball preseason is maybe the most useless preseason of any sport in existence. I think I'd care more about preseason baseball than I would preseason.
Oh, God. Really? So why, though?
Spring training baseball can give us a glimpse of young talent if they're ready to go, if they're going to be called up early. You get an idea of what the pitching rotation is going to be, maybe how the bullpen's looking. It's a more relaxed environment. It kind of invites people in like, hey, we're in a warm climate. It's cold right now. Man, I think if you were to poll even Blazer or basketball fan, I think you'd get sub 40% that care at all what happens in the preseason. Outside of Nas or an Ant, like Dame, CJ, Nurk, you get me nothing from the NBA preseason. I do think
really nothing. Like you get jacked for summer league, but not preseason.
Yeah, because I feel like people just want to play games that count. These games don't matter.
Okay.
Like I was looking back at the box scores their last couple years. I know last year was weird, but and we'll get to like what we're looking for tonight. But yeah, I look for like maybe a young guy or two to do something. What's Greg Brown going to do on a fast break?
Yeah, give me 20 minutes of that, dude. Just straight in, baby.
But how I'm watching tonight?
What?
I'm watching on a Gamecast because I don't have the GD channel. I don't have the channel. I can't get the cable yet. I don't have the channel yet, so I got to follow on a Gamecast. And yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a few people are like, I've been searching the Reddit. And listen, we cannot endorse or do anything like that. But folks, do what you got to do.
There's one avenue I'm going to try, but it involves doing something that I've never done before.
Does it require a VPN?
I don't even know what that is, but yeah, I think those were the letters. I know it's involving something with an N and a P. There's something there, but we'll figure it out. Eventually I'll have the channel. It's just, it really kind of, it grinds my gears, to steal a note from Peter Griffin.
Yes.
It grinds my gears that
you're at this level.
Yes. That they decided to leave the previous company.
Which I think we can say now that it's shuttered. There was reasoning behind that. Like,
sure,
RSNs around the country are in a weird spot.
A very weird spot, but they chose to go to a channel that then becomes defunct on one satellite provider and only has one partnership with a stream.
And it's not that big.
And it's not a big stream. It's like the bottom three of the streams that you have out there. So I was more just disappointed with that decision. Like, I know you're making up from your DirecTV people who couldn't watch, and I'm happy for those people, but I'm like, you're going to end up screwing a different subsect of people who don't have Comcast or whatever else is available to it. So I was a little frustrated by that.
I would just say between now and the regular season is going to suck.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of where we're at, I think. For me, I'm not going to crush them just yet. While this sucks, we have not reached Denver Nuggets level of, like, I can't watch the game.
Dude, Altitude TV, that was an underreported story. There were Nuggets fans like, I have no option to get that channel.
And before Murray went down, they were a finals contender.
Yeah.
So... And I believe they also carry the Avs too, and they were rolling. So yeah, we haven't reached that level, and I hope I've seen some people say that McGowan does it again, and it's just like, listen, I know people have had issues with like what the Blazers have done with certain things since McGowan came in, but I will say this, knowing I've talked to him a few times, and like going through everything, the business decisions behind it. It's always end up making sense. You can disagree with it, but it ends up making sense.
It's just I'm not one of those fear-mongering people who's like, oh, the boogeyman from Seattle is going to steal your team.
Yeah, none of that,
those
dude.
People are awful. But to me, the problem is, like, it's yet another Seattle-based decision. And we're in Portland here. Like, the owner only stays in Seattle. Chris is in Seattle. Like, everything is hubbed in Seattle. And that's kind of fine for me. But, like, when everything, Kevin Calabro, like, when you start incorporating everything Seattle.
You go with what you know.
That's kind of where I'm like, hey, is there something else we could do here?
Bry the Kid says, I live in Albuquerque. We're blacked on a league pass for Denver and Phoenix. So brutal. Yeah. So that's the thing is, like, when the league adds Las Vegas and Seattle, when the expansion, it's going to do so many weird things. And hopefully by 2025, we've kind of got the rights things figured out. We don't have blackouts should not exist anymore.
Blackouts are the dumbest thing in sports that we have, right?
There's so many people now that people aren't staying home and not going to games. Like, the people who are going to go to games are going to go to games. People who are going to stay home are going to stay home. We know who those audience are right now, especially with COVID. Like, it's like built in. But take the first couple minutes. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Really appreciate you. Joey, Johnny, Jay Betty, Nate Frog, Cooper, Bry, like literally everybody pouring in. We're going to do these every pregame, 20 to 30-ish minutes. It'll be pretty quick hitters. These are what we're looking for. Here's what's going on. If we get some other stuff, Sprague and I are both degenerates, so we'll probably start talking some gambling lines here pretty quickly. Sprague says with a smirk on his face.
Hey, maybe there's some. Hey, I'll tell you right now. If you're gonna like preseason or care about
preseason action, baby,
that is what you do. You go full degenerate. I'm gambling on preseason basketball.
That's the level. I have a few friends that sent me some lines, and I was like, "Oh my god, really?" And they're like, "Don't act like you didn't look." I'm like, "I haven't looked yet."
Here's the thing, because I do a gambling show on the BetQL Network, and like I can say this with the utmost confidence. People who act like they know what to gamble on for preseason are effing morons. They are morons who are lying to you.
That's only that. They don't have the insight because nobody knows what's going to happen in a preseason game. We could get to this tip-off tonight, and Dame might not play.
And now I would really encourage that to happen.
We're gonna see stuff like that. But we're 10 minutes in here, and we're just kind of getting settled in. So first of all, thank you, everybody, for coming in. We really appreciate you. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Please subscribe to the podcast. We're available anywhere you get podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Megaphone, you name it, we are there. Thank you, everybody, for the support. We just hit 2 months yesterday, and we shattered everything. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And without further ado, let's kind of get into it. Let's go. Brandon Sprague. 3 things that you're looking forward to in the preseason game that you don't give a damn about.
Well, let's work this out in real time. Do you want to go tit for tat, or do you want me to just go straight through 3 things?
Give me your 3.
Okay. Number 1, don't play Damian Lillard at all or over 12 minutes. That is absolute number one. I do not care. He does not need to play a second at all in preseason. If he sits the entire time, I have zero worry. He is a veteran. He's a first-team All-NBA guy. He will figure it out within 2 or 3 games in the regular season. That is number one in the preseason. Number two tonight, I really want to see Nassir Little. Jason Quick wrote about him. They picked up the team option. Man, if you're going to get in the rotation and be a contributing member at 6'8", 200-plus pounds, a freak athlete, I want to see what you've done with your game this summer. Yeah. I want to see you be aggressive when you get in there. I want to see you make impactful plays throughout the night. Whether the starters are with you or not doesn't matter. This is your time to figure it out. And number three, we need a Greg Brown dunk. That has to be in there. Number three tonight for me in game one of the preseason is I need to get a highlight reel from Greg Brown.
Just pop the hype train up to 1,000 coming out of preseason. Why isn't Greg Brown playing by game 7?
Yes. I want people texting in or chiming in on the pod, showing me like, Sprague, Greg Brown, buddy.
Cubs got to get his minutes cut. We need more Greg Brown.
We need more Greg Brown. I want to hear that. I want to see it. Those are my 3 keys tonight in preseason game number 1.
Nibble 503 says, I know what you did with your game last summer. That's the kind of thing we're looking for right here. I like that. I like that. Jordan Johnson, I need Raiders to cover to win 150.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm rooting against that bet.
What was the line? Was it 6?
It was Chargers 3.
Oh, did it get bet down to 3? Good Lord.
I think it stayed at 3 all week.
What
I
line
might
was
be
it?
wrong on that.
I might have been looking at a different line.
If you got Raiders plus 6, you jump on that in a second.
Yeah, I thought that was – I could have been looking at a different line, but that's just me. You took one from me. We'll get to it with Nassir Little.
Okay.
But for me, the things that I want to look at has nothing to do with players. Well, it's the players, but it's not a particular player. It's communication. Who's talking? Who's on the same page? Who's blowing an assignment going, oh, my bad, I need to be here. I want to see pointing, jersey pulling, screaming, yelling. If we're going to talk about all of this stupidity of coaching mattering this much, I want to see it impact. I want to see.
What do you mean by that?
I want to see this communication that everybody keeps talking about. It's
accountability.
If I hear it one more damn time before we play actual basketball, I'm going to kill somebody. It's been absolutely insane. It has been nuts. Tell me it hasn't been crazy.
There's been a lot of stuff about Chauncey.
Chauncey.
I feel like is so preseason NBA basketball.
Oh, it's amped up to 1,000.
It's to a level that I don't know if I've seen in quite some time, and I'm excited to see what Chauncey's going to do this year.
But
some of this is just like the biggest acquisition. Chauncey Billups will make them a title contender. I'm like, I don't know about that roster though.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll things back just a little bit.
Danny, I think that's a good one, though. The accountability has been talked and written about many a time. I do want to see that.
And not just from Chauncey. I want to see it
just from Chauncey.
Because for all of the Terry Stotts has his issues stuff, Terry did chew guys out. Not regularly, but he did.
He had guys in the doghouse for sure.
Exactly. I'm not looking for coaching accountability. I'm looking for player accountability. And I said this under Terry. You can't have a coach as the centerpiece of accountability. It has to be universal. It has to be within the team, within the flow of everything. So I want to see that communication. I want to see that accountability from Dame, from CJ, from Nurk, from Ant. Ant's supposed to go out there and lead that second unit now. Go out there, and he's talked about it when we had him on. Yeah. He said, I've got to be more forceful. I've got to talk. I've got to say, hey, no, I got to direct. Now, he doesn't have Carmelo Anthony saying, down in the block anymore. That might make things a little bit easier, but that's the number one thing that I'm looking at. Number 2, pace. I want to see how fast they get into stuff and how much they trust what they know. So it's one thing to get out in fast breaks transition. You're going to have broken coverages pretty regularly, but I want to see how quick they get into their stuff in the shot clock. Or is Dame walking the ball up and turn it over? Hey.
Same old Dame stuff, yeah.
Listen, Dame plays at his own pace. And if you want to look historically, Brandon Roy played at a slow pace. LaMarcus played at a slow pace. the stars of this franchise outside of Clyde Drexler played slow. Bill Walton played slow. If you start going down the list, you're like, God dang, everybody in this franchise has always played slow.
Yeah.
So, well, at least the top stars. So I want to see not necessarily the pace of possessions as far as getting out and running. How quickly do you get into your offense? And if something breaks down, how quickly do you get into something else? Or what do you get into? Those are the things I think that I really want to see. So accountability, communication, pace, and then this new look defense. I want to see how aggressive it is, and this kind of plays off of the pace and communication. Do you get back and get set? How aggressive are you? How well do the guards get through around over screens? How well does Cody Zeller mesh with these guys? How well does Jusuf Nurkic play above the level, coming above the free throw line, which is kind of terrifying. But yeah, I think those are the three things for me. They're not like these things you can just check off next to each player, but I think that's kind of what I'm looking for.
I think those are really good things. I think to add kind of to what you're saying, I think I just want to see, or I want to hear about the impact. You know what I mean? Like, not that they're going to reach what they're going to be in the first preseason game by any means.
They're going to fall on their face.
Absolutely. But I want to see or hear about what the difference maybe was, or like you went, oh, I didn't necessarily see or feel that with Terry. Chauncey is maybe getting that out of them as a group. Chauncey, we're going to do that all year.
Yeah.
Chauncey is maybe getting that out of them as a group, or Chauncey has them doing this a little bit better. I think it's mainly just, to summarize everything you listen, it's the impact. What is the Chauncey impact, and how evident is it game one preseason tipping off, getting it going in a new year?
Brian the Kid, they kind of have to do that, though. You can't fire a coach and sit and say, damn, we miss him a ton. They literally have to hype the new coach up. No argument. Every time you fire a coach, it doesn't matter how good or how bad they are. The next coach coming in is always a honeymoon. You're always hyping them up. If you want to look for the most recent example of like a coach being relatively good, but people saying they need to go, he need to go, and you bring in the new guy in, you went from the former player head coach in Nate McMillan
in Indiana,
to Bjorken, who damn near had a mutiny on his hands.
He almost got his ass kicked during a fight.
Yes. It was toxic as hell. I have talked to a ton of people in Indiana, and it was not good in any way. It was about as bad as it gets.
I think the big difference here is going to be Terry was basically a player's coach because he had the experience. He just wasn't an NBA level guy. Yeah. Now you're getting NBA level guy who really understands the day-to-day of what it is. And he's
likely a Hall of Famer. Let's not get it twisted.
Absolutely. Well, everybody's a Hall of Famer who plays basketball, but I think it's a joke of a Hall of Fame. But I think that's the benefit. That's why I think at least people more optimistic about the impact of him, maybe versus an unknown in Indiana that you had last year. Despite how good Nate is and was, they were like, hey, we've plateaued. We're good. We're going to go to a different guy. And that didn't work out for him. I think this is going to be a little different. I can't imagine Chauncey finds himself in a mutiny in 2 months. And maybe that's another reason people are so damn optimistic about what his impact could be.
All right, speaking of impact, let's move on. I'm stealing Diet Jokic from our guy Eric Gunderson, who had it in his Substack. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Gundy's Substack at Blazer Banter on Twitter. Jusuf Nurkic, Diet Jokic. Are you buying or selling what Chauncey and Nurk have been preaching so far in the preseason?
Oh, I'm selling. I think we're going to see this early. I think we'll see it often.
And then
I think after like 12 games, it's going right down into the shitter. I think he'll get his spots, and maybe that'll make him feel okay.
There's the sweet spot they got to find. Like not 7-8 shots, not 15 shots. 11, 12?
Sure. What did he average last year? Field goal attempts per game.
Oh, you're going to ask me that.
I should have looked that up myself. But my point is, I think we see more of it early, and then I think eventually it's going to kind of flow right back into the way things were. I'm just hoping, one, he gets enough looks and is fed enough.
So he finished the year at 14. So 14, I think.
14.
So 15. Let's bump it up 15. I had too low.
You got to bump it up if it was at 14. So 15 or 16. It's got to be 16 maybe minimum.
And who's going to give it up? That's going to be.
I think Norm's going to be the one to suffer.
He can't. He can't be the guy because they promised him too much. That's where the promises are getting broken here. Because
yeah, but Danny, I mean, let's be real. Is it Dame? I'm not buying it's Dame. You're not buying it's
Dame.
So
I said this on the pod yesterday. Here's the promises we have to go through. Jusuf Nurkic is getting more of a role. So that not only means more shots, but just more touches.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. CJ is supposed to return to his 12-game stretch for the best of his career, where his usage rate was through the roof. So Nurk's getting more touches. CJ's getting more touches. Ant is getting more touches. Nassir is supposed to be getting more looks and more touches. Norm is supposed to be getting more looks and more touches. Who's the only guy we haven't named here? Dame. So is Dame all of a sudden going to go from 30 a game to 24 a game? 22 a game? Hell no. That's not happening. So which promises fall off? Because
a lot of them. A lot of them are going to get.
And let's not get it twisted too here. Cove wants some more touches because he didn't get nearly as many as he wanted last year.
It's just not. That's not happening. They're not. I don't care who promised who what. Like Norm's probably, of all the players to pick a player to take less shot, it's going to be Norm. There's no conceivable way in my mind that it's CJ or Dame. And if it's not them, who is Rocco going to take one less shot? I'm sure that's going to make him feel great.
He's already had his cut into. So
if you're going to take less shots, I think you're going to go with a young guy. And you know what? If you piss off a young guy, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like that's where I think it won't matter is if you upset a younger guy. Okay, whatever. Sorry, Rook. We're going with Nurk. He's going to get more touches. It ain't going to be Dame and CJ. I just don't buy that. I need to see that before I buy it.
I am definitely going with Nurk getting more touches, especially early on this season. I do believe that Nurk will get more touches and he will show more things in general to, how do you phrase it? A better usage and a more diverse skill set as far as playmaking, shooting, not necessarily finishing. I think he is kind of what he is in that regard.
So he's going to be a more efficient player in a way?
Overall, but not just that. I think it's going to open up some things, particularly from the middle of the floor. Because so much of their action, like if you're looking at a shot chart where the hoop at the top, three-point line around the bottom, I am going to sneeze like a son of a... You got to love it. But I think that what we're going to see is that ball, instead of being operating a ton from outside the three-point line, it's going to originate more from the paint. Now, that doesn't necessarily change the shots around. It changes the location for where the playmaking is occurring, much like, again, Jokic, which is why we're kind of going with Diet Jokic here.
Oh, my God. Are we going to run a triangle offense? Let's effing do it.
It's not going to go triangle, but it is going to go, I think, some inside out in the mid-post and high post. And I think you're going to see a little bit more back cuts. But when turnovers come out of them, when forced shots come out of them, when those things, when the negatives coming out of that stuff go sideways, that's when I think you're going to see that, where's the sweet spot at? So I did see a question in here that I wanted to get to before we get into the other stuff. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. Oh, there it is, Slater Smith. Do you think they'll reveal the new pick-and-roll defense tonight or wait until opening night? I 100% believe that they are going to bring out the defense tonight because they have to.
If you're doing a new defense, this is when you do it. Like it doesn't matter if you put it on film. Like every team in the league is going to figure out your stuff in the first game anyway.
It's not the NFL. You're not hiding plays.
No. Yeah. It's not college football playing Fresno State here. You got to bust out the playbook. They need to work on that now if they're going to improve and they're going to get it turned around. They absolutely are going to be doing it all preseason, I'd guess. Yeah.
So I would assume very strongly that they are going to, they are definitely going to take a look at different coverages defensively. And we saw this last year, actually, when they brought in Boylan, and it went sideways because Nurk was out of shape. Dame's abductor was a disaster, and everybody else was kind of like, didn't give a damn.
So, it was a rough start to last year.
Yeah. So Bryce brings up a good point. We're playing Steph, better time than ever. If you want to see that aggressive coverage, what it looks like against quite literally the best pull-up shooter in NBA history, it's a good time to show it.
Also, keep in mind, I know Steph did an answer on this question earlier, but keep in mind the new rule of the way the offensive player, you can't
foul calls
bump into somebody, the foul calls, the way they're going to officiate that with your new defense. That's something to keep an eye on tonight too.
Yeah, I think that's something that's going to be fun. I'm actually working on a piece on that for a larger provider. Hopefully we'll get the show here soon. For me, what I'm looking for beyond Nurk's stuff is, we talked about it a little bit and that is Nassir Little. Nassir Little getting an expanded role. What does an expanded role mean to you tonight?
Well, tonight it means he's playing 20 minutes.
There is no Tony Snell.
There is no Tony Snell. There's no setback or reason for him to not be out there. We've heard nothing but amazing things out of him so far and the impact he's had at camp early on. It's time to go show it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Nas. I have been since they took him. But I think even the biggest of fans could acknowledge when you need to see it flipped. And he needs to start showing what he is capable of doing. I need to see 20 plus minutes of just impactful basketball. It doesn't mean you're scoring every play. It doesn't mean that you're getting every rebound or every stop. But I need to be able to keep an eye on you through my Gamecast stream. And I need to be and I need to be able, or, you know, I need somebody like you. I need to hear or know that he was out there and you felt that Nassir Little was out there. That's what I need to see tonight. This is a big preseason for him.
This is huge for him. This is typically the year 3 is when guys tend to come on as far as their growth in the Portland system. And I know people have said, well, Terry doesn't trust the young guys, doesn't trust the young. It's with good reason. You don't trust young guys in the NBA unless they're top like 3 picks. Outside of that, you get guys that pop. Don't get me wrong. But when we're looking on the whole, you don't trust guys in that role. And typically, if you have a top 3, top 5 pick, you're a trash team. Yeah. So you have that room. So that's why they basically let guys learn for 2 years how to be a pro, how to get things done. And in that regard, that's why this year 3 pops. And so his expanded role, you don't have Tony Snell. He hasn't been in camp yet. He's got a foot or an ankle. I can't remember which one it was. But for all of the hype that we have been given so far in, 2 weeks, this is his chance. And it's not a make or break, but if he comes out and he falls short, it is going to put a big time lid on the pot, right?
Oh, if he has a bad show in his first 2 or 3 games, I mean, you're not going to tell me the coaching staff is not taking notes on that. Yeah, no, I mean, like, not quite ready. We need Tony to be ready to go. Like, that's the reality of what Nassir Little is facing in the preseason, is what the coaching staff takes away from what his play is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just it can get a little dicey real quick. I think it's a good opportunity for him, but there are certainly some issues that they can run into. I saw some people talking about it. Chauncey did talk about the rotations pregame. Dame and CJ will play the first half, which, fine, get a few minutes, get a little bit of run, whatever. For me, I treat it like the NFL. Game 3, you throw them out there, get the lineups that you're gonna use, like you're targeting to use early on.
Play a quarter with them.
Yep, each one. Yeah. Go, hey, here's how we're gonna do it. Here's how we're gonna stagger. Here's how we're gonna go about it. Kind of figure it out from there. We'll kind of go into our last segment here. Anthony Simons taking on point guard-ish duties. What is your overall overarching thought about young Ant getting the opportunity again?
So I go back to when we interviewed him, and the one thing that keeps sticking in my mind for preseason and the season to come for Ant is your role is expanded, which means there are more responsibilities on your plate. That means less spot-up shooting. That means less just going for a 3-point shot. That means actually distributing and moving around the offense and getting people involved. He talked about that. He said he was working on, finding guys, dump passes, looking around the perimeter for kickouts, like
getting 2 feet in the paint.
Getting 2 feet in the paint. I mean, that's a big one too for him. I just want to see him look like a point guard. I think sometimes it's easy for young athletic players like him to fall in love with being more of a 2 guard and a guy that's just going to attack and score and get a shot. That's fine. But I'd also like to see him show point guard qualities, that he can run a unit and you don't feel like they're as big a drop off. I know Dame and him, it's a big gap, but I want to feel confident about him leading the bench. I want to see what he has worked on, what he told you and I that he's trying to get better at. And that's distribute the rock, find guys, create for guys. And, oh, by the way, go get his own inside the paint.
Yeah, with Ant, obviously, I'm a big supporter of his. That's not exactly a secret.
There's quite literally a picture right behind you in the screen of Anthony Simons.
Oh, weird. Shout out Evan if you haven't already.
Probably signed. That's an Evan photo. I bet you that's a signed photo, though.
That one's not, but there's some other stuff. Once we get into the studio, I'll have to show.
Blazer G-strings.
Yeah, absolutely. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Dude, I got Doing and I's cutouts from Moda last year right next to me, and it's going to be fantastic when those make an appearance. But when it comes to Anthony, one of the things that I really want to see is, and he didn't say it directly, but he hinted at it pretty strongly, not having to force feed Carmelo Anthony and Enes Kanter and kind of being streamlined into a singular role. Let's see what he does with a little bit more creativity. One of the things that I've highlighted with Ant is his shot creation, and although most of his pick and roll last year came with him shooting, he had a 1 point per possession pick and roll rating, which is in the top quarter of the league. So teams are going to have to respect the ever-living hell out of him in a pick and roll, because if they get stuck and he pulls up, you're going the other way with three.
Yep.
And so if he can get guys to go over and he can use that athleticism to get downhill and create, again, getting 2 feet in the paint, I think it's less about being point guardy and more about creating with his skill set. I think that's the natural progression. Remember, this is something I always have to point out. Ant is just now the same age as Damian Lillard when he was drafted. Ant is just now the same age as CJ McCollum when he was drafted.
He's basically a high school player. I mean, that's what he was when he drafted. He was like in between the high school and college. IMG Academy, we don't even know what that really is.
Yeah, it was a kind of a gap year kind of a deal, and he wasn't doing it. And he was just using his natural talent. So let's see what we get from this entire group, this package of preseason games. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
If they have to rail it back, well, I guess that's what they're going to have to do. It's just kind of, they'll have to figure it out. Big shout out to everybody coming in. We're just wrapping up. Sorry, guys. We're going to run it on 7 o'clock games. We're going to run at 5 o'clock. That gives a little bit of time for everybody to grab their kids, grab their food, grab whatever. We will do the post-game show within about 3 to 5 minutes of the final horn. We'll try to get it up very quickly. That'll be Sprague and I. We will occasionally have some guests. When we play the second Golden State game, I've got the guys from the Light Years podcast. That is Sam Sfandiari, Andy Liu, their insanity. So we'll have that on the second Golden State game to have those guys in, and that'll be fun. Sprague, thanks, buddy.
Who we taking? Portland minus the 2.5.
Is it 2.5 now?
Blazers minus 2.5.
Buddy.
Give me Blazers minus 2.5 all day, baby.
Yeah, 2.5 is. Well, Dame is only playing first half. This could go sideways.
What, is Steph going to play 4 quarters? Come on.
That's true. He's probably not.
Come on.
They are shorthanded. Okay, you know it's It's at home. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll take Portland 2.5.
Nassir Little will have 14 points. Anthony Simons will score 20. Get ready for that.
Oh, I thought you were just saying those were the lines. I was like, Vegas is good.
That's what they're gonna do.
Oh, I mean, Ant did get MVP of FanFest.
Book it. Listen to me. Make all your picks. I wear a gold chain for a reason.
All right, everybody. Thank you all so very much. Like I said, we're going to keep these ones shorter, 30, 35 minutes. And then we'll catch you guys again here. Same spot, right after the game. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague. We'll catch you guys then. Enjoy.